Hi guys, I'm sorry, Craig. I missed your call in Australia. I need to do this again. Okay. I went to my new church. Wonderful, biblically accurate, sound doctrine. Teach godly living, and they're right on faith alone, on the right gospel. No repenting of sins and keeping the law and all this other garbage. Submitting your life added to it. Great biblical church, and it was about judgment, righteously judging, and I'm going to discuss that. But first, I know many of you have been contacted by Karen Reid. I've apologized before. I don't want anybody saying anything mean to her. I've tried to block her, but she's gone years back on my Facebook to try to expose all my sin, and she's done background checks on my viewers. She harassed a 12-year-old boy, thought he was some criminal she found and wanted to expose him for his criminal activity. And I've been honest about my past. I'm an ex-con, I'm a felon, I was a drug addict, I lived in Hollywood, I was debaucherous, I was bisexual, had a kid out of wedlock. I've told you guys everything. And it's to give you
Mom, there's only
hope that
J's.
God uses us broken people. Now, Karen, I'm going to speak to you individually. This is not about doctrine. Don't try to pretend this is righteous indignation. You are judging me in pride and in self-righteousness, and that's okay. You can do that. But this is ridiculous. You're bringing up, now you've brought my son into this, and you're contacting my viewers about Child Protective Services, and this is what happens when you judge what you don't understand. This is just one woman hating another woman through envy, hatred, or something. Otherwise, you'd be bothering other preachers. This has been months now. I pray you get it or move on. I understand. You believe it's faith plus works. You don't agree with faith alone. You think it's repenting of your sins and living the good life. That's okay. You can disagree with the doctrine. That's fine. You can hate me. You can make exposing videos, whatever. I'd appreciate if you didn't put my real name up, because you know I have a stalker and it puts my life and my son's life in danger. You put my real name up and Facebook pictures of my son and stuff. It's very dangerous. That's really wrong. And I didn't report you because I didn't want you to lose your YouTube channel. But this is getting ridiculous. Now, I'm going to explain something here. I'm going to get into what's righteous judgment, okay? That we judge within our own area of authority, not outside of it. But this is what happened with Child Protective. I was, after I was abducted, I lost a third of my arm. I had gangrene, so they had to cut a lot of it out. You can see the scars all over my hands, my arms, my chest, my face, from having my face bashed in and teeth knocked out and all kinds of stuff, okay? So when that happened, I was in the hospital so long and I wanted to be home with my baby. So I had a home health nursing home health place help me so I could go home. I did my own IV meds. I had a huge wound vac machine on this arm, and I had a PICC line running through here. They did an intraclavicle and put a line in here, and I could shoot my own intravenous antibiotics twice a day, and they would check on me every 2 days, to make sure I was doing okay and to change my IV stuff. And then I had to shoot with a needle in my stomach something called heparin, which is a blood thinner, so that I wouldn't get clots and get a brain aneurysm or something. So what happened was my neighbor was prejudiced, my best friend was black, and because I was in a wheelchair, she would bring me things from the store. So she assumed I was ordering drugs because she was black. She kept calling social services over and over again, and the cops would laugh. They're like, again with this? I'm like, yes, again with this. I was about to take her to court because there was nothing I did wrong. But every time my black girlfriend would come over the next day without fail, either Child Protective or cops would come, and they were so used to it. They were like, it's ridiculous. We have to keep doing this. So they told me, they confirmed it was her, because after 3 reports, they tell you, okay? So I was supposed to go to court. Anyway, they came, and the last time they came, I had IV equipment and needles. They saw one of those needle disposals. They thought they had to verify that it wasn't illegal drug use because of paraphernalia, okay? I was cleared. They confirmed it was through Centera Home Nursing, all right? That's what happens when you judge what you don't understand. So they removed it from my home. They felt I needed help because I was in a wheelchair, so they found a social worker to come help me until I recovered. But he was only with his dad a couple of weeks, but I let him stay the remainder of the month because the school year was almost out. And it's very painful for me. Please don't do that again. It was very painful for me. And that's what happens when you judge. You have really a lot of bitterness and hatred, and it's very prideful to dig in someone else's life, to look down at them with their sin, and I've been honest about it. That's your deal. I pray you get free from it. I don't want anybody being mean to you. I don't want wish any harm to you or anything, but yes, I do, sweetheart. But, this is getting ridiculous here when you're bringing my son into it, and It's just cruel, the things it's cruel what you do.
Well, that's the internet.
And you wish harm on me. You want to erase all evidence of my existence. And you're like obsessed. Something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong. And you need to look at that.
No.
Okay? So people, if she contacts you, I know some of you were contacted about child protective, sir. That's what happened. Okay? I've done nothing wrong. It was really, really a prejudice thing, and I was cleared. It was just to verify that my needles were literally from Centera Home Nursing. So that's what happened. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you. My pastor was talking about righteous judgment, because some people say, judge not, lest ye be judged. Well, we're supposed to judge. We're supposed to judge with righteous judgment and stay within our own realm of authority. Sweetheart, please let me finish this.
I need to make a quick speech.
About what?
Well, I want to tell you something.
Okay.
About the haters like Karen. Well, that is pretty bad. But there's like these 10-year-olds out there that just hate famous YouTubers like PewDiePie and hope that he gets cancer and dies.
That's really mean to say things like that about people you don't know.
And they say some of the worst curse words, but they don't even know how to spell them.
I know, honey. It's all right. People can be mean. I understand
and
that.
And it's cringy.
So, anyway, I wanted to talk about what's righteous. We have to judge within the realm of our authority. We judge our children, not other people's. Like, I wouldn't go on a movie set that somebody else is running. I wouldn't go to another producer's set and talk to their gaffer and their second and their DP and tell that best boy electrician he's setting up the C-stand wrong. That's not my realm of authority. I'd be judging. It's very prideful. And when we go into other people's lives that aren't under our authority, then, it's prideful because you're taking the place of God. God stands there and he is the judge. Who can judge us but God? Because he's the only one that judges us. Now, within a church, a pastor should be judging to make sure the people are living their faith, because we're deacons and bishops are supposed to be spoken of by those without the church, people that aren't saved outside. They should be able to see their godliness, okay? And church members, like the man sleeping with his stepmother. He was supposed to cast him out. But when he repented of that, they were supposed to bring him back, and he said, don't treat him so badly. Don't make his sorrow so severe. We want to comfort him in his grief. So they welcomed him back with love. There's a way to do these things when someone has fallen into, like when Paul says, a brother's overtaken by a sin. We're supposed to restore him, but to make sure we're not weak in that same place, okay? And don't stand in a place of pride. And we don't judge somebody to say, you're going to hell, because anyone resting in Christ, trusting in the finished work, the death, burial, and resurrection, 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4, that Christ died for his sins according to Scriptures, was buried, and rose again on the third day. God in the flesh laid down his life and purged all our sins by himself. And he doesn't need our help. It is by grace. We get God's imputed righteousness by faith when we trust in him. We don't want our own righteousness by how good we live. We don't rely on that, okay? So I wanted to read a couple of verses here. Let's see here. John says, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Some things may seem like my pastor was talking about, you could walk into a dark room and see two people, a man and a woman in there, and they say, no, we were praying, and your first thought was, yeah, sure you were. Well, you don't know. You didn't see them do anything wrong. And sometimes what we project on other people is our own thoughts. We know our wicked minds would have been doing something else. We always have to check that. We always do. When someone is outside of our realm of judgment. Now, I have called people out in a false gospel. I have marked and told you to avoid them. I have never judged their life, how they live, what sins they have, or any of that. Even I've said some have teached lies and hypocrisy. Like I said one time, I've said something kind of personal. That John MacArthur tells you that you got to submit your will and all your dreams and all your desires and give up everything, but he lives in a $5 million house because he teaches lies and hypocrisy. I only tell you that because he teaches a false gospel. I don't care. The man's probably a very nice man, very moral man. Great. But morality and doctorate do not, overshadow truth. So I've done that. I do not bring people's sins up because God knows I am wretched. Okay. Let me give you this in Matthew 7 when the Lord is teaching about righteous judgment here. Now, you got to remember the way the kingdom works, it's sowing and reaping on this earth. So the way you judge a person, the same level of judgment that you condemn another, you will be condemned by the same measure. Okay, that's how it works on this earth. Now, before it says, if you don't forgive others, you will not be forgiven. That doesn't mean for eternity, okay? We're already forgiven by the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ for eternity. But as far as you're positionally forgiven. But as far as temporally and experientially, you won't be forgiven if you don't. Maybe someone that you want forgiveness from won't give it to you until you forgive another. Maybe you won't feel fellowship with God and his forgiveness experientially until you forgive. Do you see the difference there? Positional forgiveness and then experiential forgiveness. All right? Judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, you shall be judged. And with what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you again. I told you, whatever amount of condemnation and judgment you judge someone, it will be given to you. And again, we shouldn't even be judging outside of the realm of our own authority. Okay? We don't come out here and judge somebody else's parenting or judge somebody else's life. That's not under your authority. Okay? And why beholdest thou the mote that's in your brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that's in your own? This guy's got a little bit of sin, and you got a giant one in the same area. Jesus is telling you, do not be a hypocrite. Because the measure you judge that little bit of sin they got, your big sin is going to really be condemned. Okay, this is about righteous judgment. And it's not judging as in condemning and self-righteousness and standing over people like you're better, because that's God's place. This is about judgment of whether you associate with him, whether you can consult and give godly advice in a personal manner without exposing and gossiping about them to hurt them with it. You got to look at your motives here. Are you trying to find sin? You digging up evil in their life so you can hurt them? You got to look at that. What's your motive? Do you really want them to have a good walk with the Lord? Do you want their fellowship? Do you care about them? Are you doing it because you care? Or are you doing it so you can feel prideful in yourself? See how good I am. I don't do that. I repented of it. I repented of all my sins. And when we look down on people. Okay, I wanted to mention something too. I got a message tonight. See, our righteousness, Jesus said our righteousness better exceed that of the scribes and Pharisees. He lifted standards. Yeah, he lifted the standards so high they're impossible. He's trying to show you can't be righteous. And the only way these guys, when they were writing the scrolls, they'd go wash their hands ritually, write the Lord's name, come back, wash their hands again, and then start. They were that meticulous about the ritual of the law. This all 613 of them. Plus there was 400 other laws they had to keep just to be a scribe. So Jesus is saying here the only way your righteousness is going to exceed that is by having God's righteousness, by imputed righteousness, which comes by faith in the Son. People miss that. They think it means your righteousness, your self-righteousness by the law and how you live. That's not what that means. It's like he's saying it's impossible, so you need my righteousness. I'll give you my righteousness. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. You simply rest in his finished work, and he gives you his righteousness, okay? We should all pick up the cross daily and follow him, but not to be saved. And we have to watch how we judge. What is our motive for judging? And is that judgment within the realm of our authority? In Deuteronomy, Moses put a judge over thousands, then over hundreds, then over 50, then over 10, and they had their little area that they judged. And you know what? When we're faithful with little and have righteous judgment, God will give us a larger territory, like the prayer of, is it Jabez? Expand my territory. That's what the Lord will do when we're faithful with it and our motives are right. Do we care about them? Do we want to restore them? We want to keep them from earthly judgment and from destroying their lives? That's good judgment if they're in your realm of authority. But when you're outside of it, standing over here doing God's work for him, watch out and check your motives. Are you doing it so you can expose them and feel better about yourself? We got to look at these things, okay? Remember, God is not mocked. You reap what you sow on this earth, okay? God bless.